Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Employment Authority, Kobe Echampong, is urging the Controller and Accountant General's Department to ensure strict implementation of its supervisory role at the district level. Speaking on the AM show, the former Deputy Interior Minister argues the inability of the Controller and Accountant General's Department to effectively decentralize also accounts for the ghost names on public sector payroll.
About detecting the ghosts. If you're able to detect the ghosts, then you can claim the money. You see, we need to move. You know, the fact that the Controller is in charge of all public payroll, I see it very cumbersome. We talk of decentralization, and we are not decentralizing payroll of government, which for me is very problematic. Look, take a teacher in Kodiave who is retired, left the service. If the supervisor there doesn't report to Controller, if we decentralize it and they pay from that area, if the person retires, everybody will know the man has gone on retirement. It is the supervisory role of Controller at that point that will make the system more efficient. But some of these basic things like detecting people who have left service, retirement, who have absconded, dismissed, can be done at the local level. Once that is done, it is easier to recover some of these things. But the lag in terms of reporting that this person has left, this person has gone on retirement, creates the existence of these ghost names, because people remain on payroll long after retirement because nobody has sent a report and pay goes. If we start at that level, we'll be able to eliminate some of these things faster than what we are doing presently. And if that is done, you realize that all these ghosts at the district, you'll be able to take them out easier than creating all these bulk accounts for these things to go back in.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Ekuapem South, Osei Bonsoma, agrees, saying decentralization will enable district heads of various MDAs keep track of which personnel have been recruited and those who have retired.
The person should be able to know who has reported for work
and who has not.
Who has not. There should be a reporting system. And if it's so manual and we don't have any way of making it a bit more mechanical, then we end up with all these problems. And it's compounded. Even those who are alive, you cannot report that they have not reported for duty for any reason. How much more those who are dead? That's how come somebody may be dead 1 year, you're still paying him. And if they have a way of taking the money from the bank accounts, we'll go and take it. Either those he left behind, or even the controllers officers who have access to those things.
The police has gunned down a notorious armed robber here in Accra, or at least that's what they say. My colleague Latif Idris, who is attending a media briefing organized by the police on the latest incident, joins us now on the phone with more on this. Hello, Latif. Do we know who this armed robber is, or who this alleged armed robber is?
Yeah, this armed robber's name is yet to be given by the police. But for now, what we know is that this alleged armed robber snatched a taxi from a driver at gunpoint around Springtech. Now, this case was reported to the police, and immediately they dispatched their men on the street and they came face to face with this armed robber. Now, he wasn't the only one. There were about 3 of them in the car. And then, according to the police, these armed robbers opened fire, and the police also had no other option but to retaliate. And this resulted in the death of this armed robber, whose name is yet to be given out. Now, the 2 other robbers, according to the police, are now with gun wounds, so they are appealing to the public to report if they find anyone with trade to the police.
I see. But when and where exactly did this incident happen, this gun battle?
Yeah, according to the police, this happened yesterday around Springtest Road. So now what they are waiting for is for family members to show up and identify the body, because as it stands now, they don't even know the name of the deceased. All they know is that he was among the robbers who snatched this car from the owner at gunpoint. One other development here, is that the police have also arrested one 26-year-old whose name is also yet to be given for transporting Indian hemp from somewhere in the eastern region to Accra. He's also here at the headquarters here and being processed for court.
I see. Latif Idris, thank you very much for that update. Latif Idris, my colleague there. Now, a Supreme Court judge, Justice Sophia Kufu, is expressing concern about what she says is the unprofessional conduct being exhibited by some members of the bar in Ghana. Justice Ekufu is disappointed some lawyers go to court unprepared to argue their cases in contravention to what is expected of them. She's been speaking to law students at Gimpa.
Sitting on the bench, sometimes you come across cases which you, as the judge, you feel that really the person you need to put before you is the lawyer, because they have messed up the case from the time they issued the writ, how they drafted the writ. The person may have had a good case, but the lawyer lost that case for that client from day one. That client never had a chance, because short of the judge entering into the fray, there was no way of doing the right thing for the client, and that is very, very serious. There are also times when you see cases that have crawled through the courts, all the way from magistrate court, all the way to the Supreme Court, only for the appeal to be thrown out. Why? Because something as basic as seeking leave to appeal, the lawyer forgot. The responsibility is so high, and that it's now realized that it's important to also focus not only on the academic knowledge, which has to be high quality, so you know what the law is, but you should also have an inkling of why the law is there in the state in which it is in, and sometimes even be bold enough to also ask why is the law the way it is? Can it be better? And be in a position to use rationalism to push for reform. Sorry to say, and I don't care if I'm quoted anywhere, we have an inordinate number or inordinate proportion of lousy lawyers as against the good ones.
President John Dramani Mahama has assured advertisers their industry will be properly regulated once the Advertising Standards Authority bill is passed into law. He's also optimistic operationalizing the bill will help properly market the country and make it more attractive to investors. He was speaking at the opening of the International Advertising Association Leadership Conference in Accra.
Conference brought together stakeholders in the advertising industry across Africa to assess the implications for those businesses with interest in Africa within the wider advertising industry who wish to expand and flourish on the continent. Marketers and communication specialists will in the next 2 days do an in-depth analysis and understand the economic, social forces and trends facing consumers. For Ghanaian advertisers, although advertising is crucial to Ghana's development, the lack of the needed legislation to regulate the sector is worrying.
Africa is indeed rising, and those of us in advertising, brand building, marketing, sales, media, digital, and indeed everywhere in the business space, from finance through technology to operations, it's time to show the world that we are ready. I must confess, however, that our story is not all rosy. Ethics, standards, and regulation generally within our industry across Africa leaves a lot to be desired. I take this opportunity to appeal directly to His Excellency to help us fast-track the passing of the Advertising Council Bill into law to enable us deal with the growing threat of charlatans who parade themselves as marketing communications professionals and ultimately to protect the consumer.
President John Mahama in his address indicated processes to ensure Ghana is well branded to attract investment have begun, including the consideration of the Advertising Standards Authority bill.
With all our best tourist sites, our culture and investment opportunities, we can always remain the world's best kept secret. But what use is a secret to anyone? Here in Ghana, we set up a Brand Ghana office to coordinate our national and international branding and marketing efforts. The office is currently being restructured to meet the new objectives of government and our new international focus. Through the instrumentality of the Advertising Association of Ghana, we're considering, and Joel, you'll be happy to hear that, an advertising council bill for parliamentary consideration. This bill, when passed into law, will help regulate the growing advertising industry.
The International Advertisers Association is meanwhile asking African countries to take advantage of the widespread use of mobile and social media to promote the consumer markets and attract interested businesses.
Well, Abigail Adumenko-Ntwi's reports and the news desk this hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. This property worth more than 800,000 Ghana cedis destroyed in a rainstorm in Wa. You also heard the story of political parties agreeing to uphold the principle of no verification, no vote. Well, there's more news on myjournline.com, but for now, it is a bye-bye for now.